Hey guys, Steve here. Thanks for tuning in. Hey, sorry it's been a little bit since I've been in front of you here, but I have been really busy out on the trail, having a lot of fun, trying to get out at least 1 to 2 times a month. And doesn't seem like a lot, but for me, man, I just love getting out there anytime I can. But anyway, I wanted to shoot a video here on some of the lessons I've learned, and one major one that I've learned is how to save money. And I really wish that I knew way back then, 2 years ago, when I started this, what I know today. So hopefully I can impart a little of that wisdom on you that I've learned. And I think one of the biggest ways to save money is with your cook system. And a cook system is pretty essential, to having a comfortable time out on the trail. It's always great eating a nice hot meal at the end of a hike, or at the beginning of the morning, or really any time. And especially when it's cool out, either very early spring or late fall, a warm meal is very important to staying comfortable out there. So, everybody's got to cook something. Maybe you don't absolutely have to, but I think cooking is, like I said, makes you very comfortable. But I would save some money in this way. Let me tell you what I bought first. The very first thing I ever purchased was this MSR Micro Rocket. I think it was literally the first purchase I made over 2 years ago. And this is a great stove. I love this stove. It's called a canister stove. So you have to use it in part with a fuel source, which they call canister fuel. And on one of these, again, this is an MSR Micro Rocket. On one of these, you're going to dump about $60. Plus, you're going to spend between $3 and $6 on a canister of fuel. And there's other videos about this stuff. I could talk about different fuels for a while, but I'm not going to bore you with that right now. But yes, I dropped about $60 on this. I understand there are cheaper versions, and yeah, you could save some money, but that's what I did. And this is a great stove, especially if you like doing stuff quickly. Because if you want to boil water, you can boil water with one of these in about 3 minutes. 2 cups of water in about 3 minutes. That's super fast. Super fast. The other neat thing about these two is you can turn them up or down. So if you're doing some finesse type of cooking, this is a great system to use. But it does cost you a few more dollars. Now again, if I had given myself, or could give myself, advice way back when, I would not have chosen one of these, because of how I like to cook and what I need on the trail to be comfortable. And I understand what works for me is not going to work for everybody else. But what I have found that I use all the time now is a cat food can stove. And you call them cat food can stoves, fancy feast stoves, alcohol stoves. Those are the common names for them. And I'll tell you, on a system like this, you can spend, like a can of cat food is about 50 cents. And, with a simple cat food can stove like this, for 50 cents, you can get by. You can. So you can save, that $50 to $60 or whatever the difference is. You can save that money. And what are you going to use it for? Well, for me, what I would use if I had an extra $50, I would use that towards a better sleeping bag, for instance, or a better air mattress, or something that is going to extend my seasons when I'm out on the trail. So, for instance, my first year out, I didn't have an underquilt for my hammock, and you really can't be out in a hammock when it gets below 60 degrees unless you've got something to keep you warm. Besides a sleeping bag, you really need something else under that. And again, I don't want to dive too much into that, other than I want to save you some money. And this is what I would do if I had to do it again. I would do a fancy feast stove, alcohol stove. So this is the most simplest one. There are plenty of articles videos out there on how to build them. I'll give you the real simple version of it. It's very elementary to make one of these. Cat food can, take the top off, empty it out, right? Pretty simple. Once you've got the top off and cleaned out, you just want to put a row of holes underneath the rim. And you want to leave this space here, at least a 1/2 inch or 3/4 of an inch without any holes in it, because that's where your fuel is going to sit down in there when it burns. So if you put any holes down here, your fuel will leak out. It's no good to you. You don't have to use 2 rolls. I don't think there's a whole heck of a lot of science behind this. You do need, I would say, a dozen, but you can look at my handiwork here. This is nothing to be, it's nothing to be super proud of. But this stove works. I've used it, 20 times, easy. It's not going to boil water in 6 minutes like this guy will, or in 3 minutes rather. It boils it in about 6, 7. Somewhere around there. So, but again, 50 cents, $55. So, one thing I have done is this was the first alcohol stove I ever built or used. I have upgraded from this to what I call the tomato paste upgrade. Again, this is a very popular alcohol stove, self-made, homemade alcohol stove out there. I'll show you quickly how it's made. Again, pretty easy. Cat food can, top off, clean it out. You don't have to do anything else to this can. Okay, that part's done. The next thing you do with a tomato paste can is you need to lop off just about an inch. This isn't super critical, but you do want to take about an inch off, and I'll show you why in a second. Once you've got the can emptied out and you've got it taken down by about an inch, the cut side, where you've cut it, that's going to be the side that's going to be facing down, okay? And in that cut side, you'll notice I've put a couple of V-notches, 4 of them, in fact. And those V-notches, those are there to allow the alcohol, your fuel source, to wick up into the next component. I'll talk about that in a second. So you've got a couple of V-notches in the bottom. And again, you can do that with, I have metal cutting shears. You could do it with a pair of kitchen shears. Just don't let your wife catch you doing it. And then finally, the last thing you want to do is right underneath the rim here. You see that? Right there? I've added 1 hole here. This tomato paste can becomes your pot stand. So if you don't have a way for the gas to escape, okay, and this isn't necessarily fuel, I'm talking about combustion gas. If you don't have a place for that to escape, then your fuel is just going to boil out of this. So you want to have some way to relieve that pressure. So you just do it with a simple hole. You can use 1, you could use 2. I used 1. All right, pretty simple so far, right? Not too complicated. That's part 2. Okay, and then this is the most expensive part of it right here. If you can kind of see this, this is called carbon felt, or in some places it's called a soldering blanket. And essentially what this is this is a material that's very, very heat and flame resistant, and you can get it at most any Home Depot or Lowe's. Ace Hardware probably has it. When I bought mine, it came in a sheet that was about the size of a piece of paper, about 11 by 8.5. And what you do, quite simply, you can cut it with those same kitchen shears. You want to cut a strip of it the width of your cat food can, okay? Just a little bit narrower than your cat food can, all right? And as far as the length of it is concerned, I'll show you that next. You want to cut it to the length so that you can wrap it around your tomato paste can and it does not overlap. See that? Doesn't overlap. It's okay if you got a little gap. Even if you have a big gap, it's not the end of the world, but you just want to make sure it does not overlap. And I'll tell you why. Because you need to insert this whole piece now into your cat food can. It just slides right in there. That carbon felt is just the right thickness I don't know, maybe 3/8 of an inch, a little better than maybe a 1/4 inch. Just the right thickness so that it sits right down in that can and stays pretty stable, right? So there's your, what I call the tomato paste upgrade. This tomato paste can becomes your pot stand. So if I had a pot, and I do, you know, I use, I got a couple of them, but this is the one I use a lot here, is the Stanley Adventure Camp cook set. All right, that just sits right on the top. Okay. Very easy to use, relatively inexpensive for this guy. It really was. I'll tell you quickly, one of the reasons I upgraded, or one of the benefits, I guess I should say, of the upgrade, is that with a stove like this, okay, you've got to wait for the alcohol. Once you put your alcohol in the bottom, about 1 ounce is what I do, just about 1 ounce. This is a little 2-ounce container. I put about 1 ounce in there, which will boil 2 cups of water for me. Once you get your fuel in there and have it lit, it takes about 30 to 45 seconds before that alcohol becomes warm enough for you to be able to put your pot on top of it. And you have to slowly ease it on, because if you put it on too quickly, too soon, you'll just snuff out the flame. So with a stove like this, you got to wait a little bit for your alcohol to heat up, to begin to boil, and then you slowly put the pot on. Once you're on and the flame starts shooting out here, you're good to go. All right? With a pot stand, or a fuel stove like this, once you put the alcohol in and light it, within about 10 to 15 seconds, you'll see that flame start shooting out around your felt webbing here. Once that happens, you can immediately put your pot on. You don't have to wait. Okay? So that's one of the reasons I really like this. It has that little pot stand on top that will not snuff out your flame. You don't have to ease the pot onto this one. You can just plop it on. So, anyway, really neat. Love the fact that this was very inexpensive to make, and it's very lightweight. Again, you know, the difference in cooking times, I shot a video on these. They both boil water at about the same pace. This one might be better by about 30 seconds or so. But I liked this upgrade because of the fact that, you know, I did not have to wait really to, or ease my cook pot on it. So, all right, so that's it. Definitely this is a big money saver, especially if you can get a couple guys or gals in on the carbon felt with you. Then you can all kind of share the cost of it. You'll use either heat or denatured alcohol to fuel these guys. And again, about an ounce does 2 cups of water. Depends on the temperature, depends on how much wind there is. But anyway, both of these are relatively inexpensive. Maybe this might be $5-6. This might be $8 or $9. And this comes with me on every trip now. So had I to do it again, I probably would not have gone with a micro rocket. Okay, save that money, put it into something that's going to keep me warmer out there, especially in the early spring, late fall. So hope you enjoyed. Give me a thumbs up, please, and leave me any comments, any questions you might have. I'm going to do another one here in hopefully about a week or so about how to stay warm for super little money when you're out on the trail. Okay? Talk to you soon. Thanks for watching.